but I wanted to look at this motion by Lori. I know we've sort of addressed this already, but this is new, right? This filing is
Yes,
new.
Yes.
Okay.
Uploaded to the internet overnight.
Okay. So this is a motion to dismiss for prosecutorial misconduct. And Lori did address some of these things in her prior motion, but she's listing some additional things here. So I want to go over them. On or about September 6th, Trina K directed, and she's the prosecutor, the lead prosecutor, directed Chandler and Gilbert to refuse to provide public documents to the defense, interfering with the defendant's right to conduct an investigation. I'm dubious about that. On or about January 30th, Trina K obtained and distributed attorney-client privilege communications between the defendant and her appellate attorney. Again, if what we've seen is what she's referencing, there's nothing confidential in there. On or about March 11th, Trina K gave legal advice to defense witness Nate Eaton in an off-the-record conversation regarding how to avoid being served with a subpoena. So the state's already just responded to this, right? This is what we read was their response, that they didn't do this, is what the state said. Ms. K has personally thrown her ethics and duties out the window. That's called defenestration, Lori, if you want to use a better word, in order to win this high-profile case in front of a worldwide audience.
Wow, her grandizement of everything is just so disturbing to me.
Yeah.
Like, she uses phrase like thrown them out the window in a legal filing. That's not appropriate language for a legal filing.
No.
And then in front of a worldwide audience. So she's very well aware of her audience, and she's playing to her audience right now. Is she not?
Exactly. Because this court has ignored the state's conduct, Trina K became more blatant in her disregard for her ethical obligation. This is sadly similar to her longtime boyfriend Juan Martinez's behavior in a high-profile case years ago here in Maricopa County. It seems her behavior is not original. These are some wild accusations from Lori, bringing in the boyfriend of the prosecutor.
And this is hot off the press. This is just uploaded overnight, literally. Wow. Like this may be the first place you see this. This is crazy accusations.
This is crazy. Okay.
But I'm not going to lie. I've heard it before. I have heard it before. Sure.
Any of you super sleuthers out there who want to Google this real quick, okay, please Google Juan Martinez attorney, high profile Maricopa County case. I want to know about this case. This court is obligated to discipline officers of the court for misconduct. This misconduct is egregious and needs to be addressed by the court. The actions that the defendant is seeking this court take as a result of Ms. Trina K's misconduct are the following. 1, removal from above cases for prosecutorial misconduct. 2, sanctions by the court of dismissal charges. 3, disbarment by the state of Arizona. She is asking for the prosecutor in this case to be disbarred.
Wow.
I'm just blown away. I thought this was all going to be a lot more just dry silliness. And it
this is
out.
Oh my
okay,
gosh.
Is it the Jodi Arias case?
I don't know. I heard that the prosecutor in this case was the live-in boyfriend with him for several years. I don't know if they still are. I'm just telling you what I heard. This is just rumor, just gossip. So she found this out and she put it in a motion. Oh my goodness.
I mean, this has to be coming from one of her advisory council. Like, there's no way she would just know this stuff, right?
Right. Eliza says, yes, it was Arias. Yeah.
Okay. Juan Martinez did not represent Jodi Arias. He was the prosecutor who led the case against Jodi Arias in her. Okay. So he was the prosecutor. He successfully convicted Jodi Arias of first-degree murder for the 2008 killing of her ex-boyfriend, Travis Alexander. He worked for the state, arguing against Arias, while she was represented by her own defense attorneys, including Kirk Nurmi and Jennifer Wilmot. Martinez gained national attention for his aggressive prosecution style during the highly publicized trial.
A little bit better than Dr. Google.
There were multiple allegations of prosecutorial misconduct leveled against Juan Martinez during the Jodi Arias trial. These claims were raised, but maybe she talked to Jodi in jail. What do we think about that? They're in the same, aren't they in the same place?
Well, Maricopa County is not the same as Arizona State Pen. So
That's
when
true.
you're in
That's true. And she's in
yeah,
Estrella, not in the actual prison. So that's true.
yes,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay. Eliza Osborne says Martinez leaked information to a blogger with whom he was having a sexual relationship and then lied to investigators
Oh
about
my
their relationship.
gosh.
Goodness gracious.
Oh my gosh, dude. But he is not associated. He's not associated with this case, except that he lived together with the prosecutor for a while.
Right, but it's not a case of guilty by association. It's really not. You can't argue that.
She can. She's gonna.
She's gonna because she thinks she can. He got the ME or a detective to change their testimony allegedly, and allegedly one misrepresented a few things. Okay. Jody was LDS as well, another Mormon murder. And yes, I've seen the ties. I've done the research. It's not something I have brain space for right now. Church of Korihor, we just dropped a huge bombshell in the middle of this live stream. I hope that you are here for it. This is just crazy stuff.
Wow. I hadn't looked at this document before we went live either, so I'm shocked.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Eleanor, for clarifying. Travis was Mormon, Jody converted.
Just like Lori was Mormon and Charles converted.
Yep. Why is she even bringing this up from years ago? Well, because she has a personality disorder, because she knows she's guilty. She has no case to stand on. So she keeps trying to get it dismissed because she knows that the evidence that comes out is going to be really damning. So apparently there was a big question if pew pew or fork came first, and it kind of mattered. Although at this point, I don't know why I'm editing myself because we've said the words so many times.
Are you talking about Charles Vallow?
No.
Was he shot?
No, this was in the Jody Arias case. There was a big question which came first, and it mattered. Yes, and thank you for clarifying. Jody is in prison. Lori's in jail. It's different. That's okay, Church of Korihor. We will go over it again because this is crazy. Here are the different allegations of prosecutorial misconduct in that case. Aggressive conduct and witness intimidation. Martinez was accused of using belligerent and harassing tactics during the trial, including aggressive cross-examination of defense witnesses. The Court of Appeals upheld Arias's conviction, noting a pattern of intentional misconduct that saturated the trial. Examples included intimidating witnesses with argumentative questions and innuendo to the point where one witness asked, "Are you angry at me?" during cross-examination. Okay, media and self-promotion. Defense alleged that Martinez engaged in improper self-promotion by courting the media, such as signing autographs and taking photos with fans outside the courtroom. The Court of Appeals criticized this behavior, stating it was beneath the office he held. I would tend to agree with that, and violated a prosecutor's duty to uphold trial integrity.
Yeah.
So it didn't directly affect the jury's verdict. Martinez was also accused of attempting to manipulate the jury process. Specifically, he allegedly leaked the identity of a holdout juror to a blogger with whom he had a personal relationship, aiming to disqualify her after she resisted voting for the death penalty. He was accused of communicating.
That's no bueno. That is not good.
Yeah,
jury tampering? No.
That's real bad.
No.
He was also accused of communicating with a dismissed juror to gain insight into the jury's leanings, including receiving explicit photos from her and then lying about these interactions to investigators. So if you're just joining us, Lori filed a motion that is fresh. This is brand new this morning, just uploaded this morning, to have motion to dismiss the case for prosecutorial misconduct. She's alleging Trina K has thrown her ethics and duties out the window. And then she says, this is sadly similar to her longtime boyfriend, Juan Martinez's behavior in a high-profile case years ago here in Maricopa County. It seems her behavior is not original, and they're asking for her to be removed from the case, to receive sanctions, and to be disbarred by the state of Arizona due to her prosecutorial misconduct. So we were just digging in a little bit because apparently she lives with Juan Martinez, who was the prosecutor.
Or she has in the past. I don't know if that's current.
It just
Yeah.
says longtime boyfriend. That could be any sort of a situationship. But Lori is basically trying to say guilty by association over here. This is craziness. Lori has no right to call that into question. She has no right to bring the other prosecutor in. All right. So this is the wildest thing that I've seen. I probably will do a shorter video just on this one motion because I think it's so important because it's 323. So she filed her motion on 321. This response was filed on 323. Props to Trina K for not destroying Lori for doing the guilt by association thing. She doesn't even mention it in here at all, which I think is the professional way to do it. So
can you imagine how
good on her.
exhausted she is? Can you imagine how exhausted Trina is? Like,
can't even
no.
imagine it.